Hey everyone, this is my response to Doug Walker or Nostalgia Critic's top 20 movies of all time. You probably haven't seen that yet unless you go to his site, thatguywiththeglasses.com. It's in two parts, and it's very insightful. But I thought I couldn't give you my response to that, and some of these movies that I've chosen you may not be surprised by, some of them you might be. But anyway, let's get started with this top 20 movies of all time, and my favorites, I should say. And let's see what you think. All right, at number 20, I know this may sound a little weird, it may look a little weird, but it's actually My Little Pony, the movie. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, what in God's name is somebody like Brian rating a movie like this, which is obviously a girls' movie, in the top 20? Well, let me kind of answer that question. You see, this movie was actually watched not just by girls, but by boys as well. I know that's hard to believe, but boys and girls watched it together. Just like girls and boys watched G.I. Joe together and Transformers together, same here. They watched this movie, and to them, and when you look back on it nowadays, it's very nostalgic to watch it, even if you are a boy or a girl, because this is something you grew up on no matter what. I mean, yes, it was one of the first movies to be released theatrically by Hasbro and Sunbow, but overall, it was a decent. To me, it was a decent film. I mean, yes, it was targeted towards the girl population. I'm not disagreeing on that. But like I said, boys watched it as well. Hell, I even recorded the movie, believe it or not, and I have it for nostalgic reasons. Because even though I was more into Transformers than I was into ponies, I watched the show with my sisters. I'm not gonna lie, I did watch it with my sisters. But yeah, that is why My Little Pony is ranked at number 20 to start this countdown. And if you got any comments on that, be free to do your own countdown. But let's get to number 19, shall we? Alright, at number 19, talk about a complete 180 360 spin from the number 20 slot. At number 19 is I Know What You Did Last Summer. Now the reason I rank this up here is because, yeah, to me it was a typical slasher movie, and above all, it was actually my first slasher horror flick that I've ever seen. I mean, and the reason I say that is because to me it really wasn't that big of a deal like on the monsters, like on Freddy Krueger's and Jason Voorhees and whatever. It was more typical to the fact that it was a regular slasher film, and it was targeted mainly at teenagers, believe it or not. I know that sounds weird and unusual, but that you got to agree on that. Back then, it was targeted more towards to the teenagers. Why? Well, even though it had a lot of people getting the axe in the film, it really wasn't that bad. Yeah, there was a few scenes that made you want to jump and scream and all that, but it really wasn't that bad. To me, yeah, it was a slasher film. It was a bit of a horror film, but it was just a typical teenage thriller film, and that's why I was able to watch it. And yeah, I will admit there were some scenes, like I mentioned, that made me jump a couple of times, but not that much. Not like something like, say, out of a monster movie or something, But anyway, overall, it was a good film, and that's why it's ranked here at number 19. I Know What You Did Last Summer, ranked at number 19. Alright, coming in at number 18 is Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed. Now, I know you're probably saying, well, Brian, if you're a fan of animation, wouldn't you rank this a little higher? Well, I would, but honestly, it really wasn't that good as the first film. I mean, the first film was like totally out of the woodworks. It was totally unexpected. You didn't know who the villain was at the end until you saw who it was. And well, let's just save it when I talk about it later. Because yes, the first film's on the countdown. I'm just not telling you where. But let's get back to this one. Again, it is a good film. It is funny and everything. But the only The only drawback is it's basically a live action version of what you typically saw in the 60s, 70s, and 80s Saturday morning cartoon. Basically, the Mystery Inc. has to unmask the villain and find out who it is. So, and it does reference who the goes back to like one of the earlier cartoons in the 60s, does reference that because that's the main villain. Overall, it wasn't as good as the first one, but it was pretty decent. Um, I'm not surprised that because of the sequel, that the third one, which is a prequel, that just came out on Cartoon Network, is been released directly to television and video. So I'm not surprised about that. But overall, decent film. Not as good as the first one, but does deserve a ranking here on the top 20 countdown at number 18. Alright, coming in at number 17 is the 1979-1980 film Animal Olympics. Now, I'll let you in on a little secret about this in case you don't know. Animal Olympics was actually split into two different features, which were shown theatrically. One was shown, I think, during the winter in 1979, I believe. I'm not really sure. And the other was shown in 1980 during the Summer Olympics. But obviously someone came together and said, you know what? Let's just put it together as a feature film and go from there. And that's what we got. Animal Olympics. And it's a very good film. Yes, it's targeted towards kids. There's no doubt about that. But it's a very, very good film. Very funny at times. They take their own spin on a lot of the Olympic events, and give their own humorous, like I said, spin to it. The one thing about this film is it actually has both all these Olympic events that you would normally see separately, like during the winter and during the summers, all put together as one, event, and that's pretty cool. So, and I like how they have all these animal personalities parroting a lot of this celebrity announcers back then as well. Like we have a turkey voiced by Billy Crystal that's kind of a parody to Javi Cortel, and then a kangaroo I think is also voiced by Billy Crystal that parodies Muhammad Ali. Overall, it's a very decent family film, and if you want to get something that would get your kids into the Olympic spirit, into the Olympics, get them excited about watching the Olympics if you're into it, this is the film to get. Animal Olympics. Yes, I know you're probably thinking it should have been ranked higher on the countdown, but there's other films probably a little bit more deserving. Not saying this isn't, but right now this is the only one. And that is why Animal Olympics is ranked at number 16. Alright, and number 16, and this is number 16. I apologize for saying number 16 at the end of the number 17 movie, which was Animal Olympics. But here on number 16 is Pearl Harbor. This movie was released in 2001. It's actually sort of a biopic war drama romance film, I guess you could say. Yeah, it's got all that combined into one. It's got war. It's a war film. It's a drama film. It's a biopic. It's a drama, and it's a romance film, a romantic film. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. War, bio, drama, romance. 4 categories in one. I thought this was a pretty good film. I mean, the trailers for it definitely made it look good. I went and saw it, and despite what some people say, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, yes, it goes over. Yes, it's a 3-hour and 4-minute movie. It is over 3 hours by 4 minutes, I should say. It is a decent film. I was lucky enough to buy the film on VHS. I had the film on DVD, but I had to sell it for financial reasons. Or trade it in, sell it at those stores and everything. But anyway, I thought it was a very good film, and I would recommend this to anybody that wants to learn about Pearl Harbor, or just likes to sit down and watch a good 3-hour movie. Because this will do it. This is a very good film. I'm not saying that it's not, and I'm not saying that you'll get bored by it, because you won't. There's a lot of good elements in there. It's very, very well done. Jerry Bruckheimer did a hell of a job with it, and really that's all I have to say. And that is why Pearl Harbor is number 16, the 16 one, not what I mentioned at the end of the Animal Olympic one. but this is the number 16 movie on the list.